What's going on, contractors? Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking about the 5 daily master tasks that help you lose weight, and ultimately keep it off forever. Now, these are the things, the 5 daily master tasks that my clients do every single fail, right? And it's not going to be perfect. Have the energy to put back into your business, maybe with late nights working on sales and marketing. Have the strength and longevity, play with your kids and your grandkids. And really, before I get into anything, like if you don't know who I am, my name is Miles Wold. I own and operate the Winner's Mindset Fitness Academy. This is a specific fitness academy for contractors, for blue collar leaders, for people, men, want to take to the next level in their fitness, right? Maybe they've been in the field for years, 5, 10, 15 years. And they were super active back then, but then as their business scaled, as they've gotten better at business, expanded, brought in more employees, they've transitioned to the office. And a couple of guys that I work with are process of transitioning into the office, and they understand how getting in the best shape of your life helps make that a reality. And starting it sooner rather than later makes the process a hell of a lot easier. So what we do is we actually, give the exact structure needed around the workouts, around the diet, around the mindset and accountability, so that you can see consistent progress, right? And ultimately, the academy is not about me. It's about my clients, it's about helping them on their journey and become the person who they want to be. I'm just the vehicle that makes it happen. So with all that, if you're tuning in, comment #live. If you're tuning in watching the replay, comment #replay. So what we're going to do for this one is I'm actually going to bring out the whiteboard here, and we're going to write some stuff down. And then we're going to put some detail, right? We're going to put some nuance and detail to this. So here are the 5 major master tasks. Write that down. 5 for master tasks. Lose weight, build muscle, have more. Say have more energy. Be a better leader. There's a lot of guys that I work with do want to be that better leader in all areas of life. The big 3 of personal development, especially if you're a big fan of Tony Robbins and all that kind of stuff, is health, wealth, and relationships. And at the foundation of wealth and relationships is health, right? That really is that foundational piece, if we want to break it down into like a 3-apex, a 3-tiered pyramid, if you will. That foundation is the health. Because you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health, then what's the point, right? And the beauty about fitness, and I've been really thinking about this the last couple of days, the beauty about fitness, it is the ultimate leveling ground. It doesn't matter how much money you make, whether you make $1 million revenue in your business, whether you're, continuously getting your 50% gross profit, or, maybe you make 10 million in your business, maybe 20 million annual in your business, maybe you make more than that. None of that matters, because at the end of the day, you still have to put in the work. And everyone has to put in the same amount of work to to get to where they want to be, right? So let's start off here with number one. So very simple, sleep 7 to 9 hours. Simple, right? Simply said, but not always simply done, especially when we've got deadlines, things that need to be completed in the evening. Maybe there's some things that we forgot and we want to do it last minute. That's where, more or less, sometimes we put sleep on the back burner. So here's how to get the most optimal sleep, right? So 7 to 9 hours, that is kind of your average. For myself personally, I sleep 7. And the funny thing is that as you lose weight, as you put on more muscle, as you get in better shape, you can actually get away with less sleep and perform better. I'm going to say that again. The better shape you are, you can get away with less sleep and perform better. That's something really to think about. So here's how we can do that. There will really be 3 major things that actually move the needle forward in terms of sleeping better. First one is dark room. No lights, right? Get your TV. You've got a TV in your bedroom. Get rid of the TV. You don't need that shit. You don't need to be, watching your iPad. You don't need to be watching, some kind of movie before going to bed. Like, you need to be sleeping, right? So this is where going towards more analog things. Maybe you need to read a book, go for a walk, write, journal, prepare yourself for the next day. Because all those TV shows, all those movies are still going to be there 20 years from now, right? I can go and watch Terminator 2 from the 90s on my dad's VHS anytime I want, right? It's still going to be there. You can download it on my laptop if I want. So really take into account, really be aware of your, kind of nighttime routine, your habits, kind of what's going on before going to bed, because that's going to affect your next day. So dark, a really good habit is no TV in the bedroom. Number 2 here, we got dark room, we want a cold room. So imagine, 65 Fahrenheit. I operate in Celsius up here in Canada, but that's a pretty good spot to be at. 65 Fahrenheit. That's nice and cool. That's nice and cool, right? So again, we got cold, dark room, no TV in the bedroom. Maybe you want to get blackout blinds. You could also get those kind of sleep masks, those eye masks, just to really block out any kind of light that might come in. Cold room, right? You really want to cool the room down. You really don't want to be going to bed and warm, really uncomfortable. Helps, it really disturbs sleep. Then the last one here, dark room, we got cold room, no noise, obviously. We've got, any kind of outside noise, we want to eliminate that as much as possible. So those are really the 3 main factors that move the needle forward in terms of sleeping your best, right? And if we have sleep as a foundation, once we get that locked in, everything's a lot easier, because when sleep goes to shit, everything else goes to shit. Your stress goes up, wake up late, you hit the alarm, hit the snooze button, your performance goes down, feel like you're behind, right? Personally, I feel like I'm behind whenever that kind of stuff happens. So as a number 4 here is, don't hit the button. And the reason for that is because your body has the natural biological clock, right? So your body likes to wake up at certain times, likes to go to bed around certain times, and you really got to listen to your body. And everyone's slightly different, but for the most part, I'm a morning person. When 5 o'clock hits, I'm up, I'm ready to go. That is my perfect time. I've tried 4:30, find still a little groggy, try 5:30, 5:15, still a little groggy, all that kind of stuff. So if you find you're waking up kind of groggy right now and you don't hit the snooze button, maybe shift it either before or later by 15 minutes. Kind of play around with that. We don't need to do like a whole hour difference. Sometimes 15 minutes can make a big difference in terms of waking up at your highest energy. But if you are hitting the snooze button, that could be holding you back. Your body wakes up at the proper time, let's say 5 in the morning, and then you hit the snooze button for 20 minutes. Now you've delayed your natural cycle, right? You've delayed your natural cycle. So don't hit the snooze button, just get up when the alarm goes off. And as an extra challenge, you can also plug in your phone on the opposite side of the room, have your alarm set on your phone. So when that goes off, you have to physically get out of bed to turn off the alarm. So that's a really good way to get your body moving, get yourself out of the warm comfort of the sheets, and start taking immediate action right away, right? You're putting yourself in a winning position. You're setting yourself, no matter how uncomfortable it may be, first thing in the morning. So that's sleep, 7-9 hours. So number 2 here is we want to really make sure we're in a calorie deficit, high on protein. So what does that mean actually? So typically 1 gram of protein times your current body weight. And if over, if greater than, if over 200 pounds, stick to 200 grams protein per day. It's really simple. Let's say we break this down over 3 meals plus a protein shake. Let's say 50 grams per meal. 50 grams protein per meal plus double scoop protein shake. 50 grams usually. 200 grams. So you really just got to do simple math with this, right? We just got to do a simple math, right? Like how much do I weigh right now, regardless of how much I want to weigh. So we have that, I'm say we're 200 pounds, and we'll have 200 grams of protein every single day. If I have 3 meals and I break that 3 meals in a double scoop protein shake, how much on average protein will I need to have per meal? Roughly 50 grams of protein, right? Every day is going to be perfect. Not every day is going to be perfect, but at least have the kind of structure to kind of map that out and how it resonates with you. So that's one of the macronutrients. What do we do with the fats and carbs and all that kind of stuff? So typically, like when you eat a lot of protein, those often resolve themselves because you are eating less in other areas. So you're not stuffing your face with a bunch of carbs. You're not stuffing your face with a bunch of fats that don't serve you. We're just eating a lot of protein. And naturally, the good kind of fats, especially in the darker cuts of meat, darker cuts of fish, you will get those good kind of fats from that protein. And then the carbs, you can get that from fruits. If you really want to load up on lots of volume of food without high amount of calories, this is where you can eat a lot of leafy greens, a lot of vegetables, non-starchy vegetables. So like, minus like potatoes, sweet potatoes, beans, all that kind of stuff, because those would fall into the carbs category. So if you were to eat meat, fish, seafood, shit ton of leafy greens, shit ton of high fiber vegetables with fruits, you would be in a really good position to lose the weight that you want and build muscle, while making sure you're in a caloric deficit. It is really that simple. It is really that simple. We don't need to overcomplicate it. And let's say, you're working in the field, you're probably going to want a little bit more energy. So this is where you can have some rice, some potatoes, and all that kind of stuff. Some beans to fuel your energy when you are working. Whereas if you're in the office, you can get away with minimal amount of carbs simply because you're not being as physical. Maybe you're in a more sedentary position. And that's totally okay. We just have to adjust for you as the individual. So if you have any questions around that, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to keep moving on to smashing workouts every week. So what is the point of workouts, right? Lifting weights, body weight, home workouts, doesn't really matter. What is the point of all that? Why not just do a shit ton of cardio? Why not just hop on the treadmill for 60 minutes, 120 minutes every single day? Well, what we need when we move our body against gravity, or when we move weights against gravity or cables or machines and all that kind of stuff, we're building muscle, right? We're signaling to our body that we need to build muscle. And to be in the best shape of your life, you need muscle. Losing a bunch of weight, losing a bunch of muscle is one of the reasons why people kind of gain all that weight back, right? When you have more muscle, burn more calories at rest. You could be in that office position and you could be burning more calories because you're consistently getting your workouts done. You're consistently building muscle. So just by working in the office, you can, be in that caloric deficit and you'll be building muscle. You'll have more energy throughout the day. You will not be out of breath when bending over to tie your shoe. You will be the most energetic when running and down, up and down the stairs and all that kind of stuff, right? You will be able to have the energy you need to show up in your business and pump that energy into sales and marketing, taking calls with clients and employees, training new people. So at the most foundational level, building muscle is the highest peak of health. If you have muscle, then you will always be healthy, right? Because having that muscle allows you to move against gravity. I hear a lot of people, dealing with injuries and all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, like we need to work out, right? The gym, whether at home or in a commercial gym or whatever that looks like for you, it's there to get you strong. It's not there to get you injured. It's there to get you strong over a lifetime. So we need to consistently be lifting weights, whether, body weight stuff at home, commercial gym, home workouts, TRX machines. Doing body weight stuff is you're moving resistance against gravity. You're using your own body weight, whatever that looks like for you, to move against gravity and get stronger. So at this time of year, a lot of you guys are extremely busy. This is some of the busiest times of the year. And I totally get it. So if you want to save time on commute and you just want to get a workout done first thing in the morning, this is where those home workouts come into play. Squats are free, push-ups are free, planks are free, sit-ups are free, lunges are free. All of these body weight exercises are the foundation of health. Like if you can move your body weight against gravity, you are really in a good spot with your health. Then it's just a matter of keep going, staying consistent with it all. So we'll write down here, lifting weights, body weight, home workouts equals more strength, health, longevity. Actually, we'll write longevity and energy. So number 10K steps daily, right? What is the purpose behind this? So an easy way to burn an extra 500 calories, but also your heart is a muscle, right? Your heart is a muscle, and doing some cardio, no matter how light, walking every day is very light cardio. probably wouldn't even consider. Honestly, I wouldn't really consider it cardio, at least not very intense cardio. This is kind of like low intensity, steady state cardio, but it's still good for the human body nonetheless, right? Not only does it help you burn an extra 500 calories, it keeps your heart healthy and body moving, which in turn accelerates fat loss, all that good stuff. Simple, right? No need to overcomplicate it. So typically 90 minutes daily. So this is super easy. If you're in the field and you're already working on your feet all day, you're probably already getting this, right? You're probably already getting this. So you would only have to worry about is, your sleep, making sure you're getting enough protein, smashing your workouts every week. So we're building muscle at the same time. And then the last one here is 90 to 120 ounces of water daily. And the reason behind that is the human body is what, 60-70% water? You need to be hydrated. You need to be hydrated, especially around workouts and just in general throughout the day. Simple. So what's going to help you keep accountable with all this is daily weigh-ins, right? Daily weigh-ins, and then look for weekly average trends. Expect to have daily fluctuations, right? Really expect to have daily fluctuations. Let's say you have some salty food the night before, maybe some beer, some chips, all that kind of stuff. That is going to lead to higher water retention. So, let's say you wake up the next morning after you go to the bathroom, before you eat or drink anything, that is your light point of the day. So that's when you would weigh in, hop on the scale. Let's say you're 2-3 pounds higher than you were the day before. Totally cool. Don't freak out about it. Treat it as a data point, as a KPI in your business, and just don't be emotional about it. Just look at the number, say, okay, this is, probably what happened last night. That's totally okay. What you're looking for is weekly average trends, right? So this is why it's important to do your daily weigh-ins so that you can look over the course of a week, calculate your weekly average, and then from there, make the necessary adjustments. So primarily, like you really want to let the diet do most work, especially in the beginning. And then as it goes on, you can even ramp up doing more cardio, right? More intense cardio, treadmills, bikes, salt bikes, rowing, all that kind of stuff. It's good to do nonetheless. However, you should let the diet do the bulk of the work, right? So this is where, again, for maybe a month, use MyFitnessPal, just being aware of tracking everything. The first week, track everything, run it in MyFitnessPal. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about what it's going to give you. And then what you would do is compare that to your daily weigh-ins. Did my weekly average go up? Did it stay the same? Did it go down? If it's down, you're in a caloric deficit. If it's stayed the same, then you're at maintenance, and you might need to deduct 200-300 calories off the total intake. If you're in a surplus, you might need to deduct, anywhere between 500 to 750, right? But just by eating properly, that will typically create a deficit. I've seen it so many times where the first week, a lot of clients, just by being aware of what they're eating, they naturally put themselves in a deficit. Because they're aware of what all these calories are coming up as, especially if, you're snacking on nuts throughout the day. Maybe you have, a lot of high fatty foods, low in protein, all that kind of stuff. So super important. That is how you would set it up. These are the 5 most important master tasks to lose weight, build muscle, have more energy, ultimately be a better leader. Like this stuff isn't complicated. This is the stuff that we know we should be doing, but aren't, right? So that's where revisiting your why you even take care of your health in the first place. Because nobody's going to do it for you. That's the reality of the world. Nobody's going to do the work for you, and nobody can do the work for you. It is up to you to lift the weights. It is up to you to eat the food. It is up to you to put in the work. So I will leave it here on this high note. I really encourage you to revisit your why. And if you haven't created one yet, sit down with a pen and paper. Spend 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, however much you need to figure out the why behind getting in shape and staying in shape. It's one thing to lose a bunch of weight in a short amount of time, 50 pounds in 3 weeks or something crazy like that. But what happens after? Do you stick with it or do you fall off? And that's what separates the best from the rest. Those who stick with it for a lifetime, instead of just going through these yo-yo diets every year, crashing and burning, going back to where they were, crashing and burning. So ask yourself why. Why even take care of your health in the first place? And then ask yourself why again. And then ask yourself why another time. And then a 4th and a 5th time until you get to the root cause. And it should be highly emotional, right? It should be a highly emotionally charged answer, because that's what's going to get you to stick with it. If it's something surface level, maybe something, someone else told you should do, chances are you're not going to stick with it. So figure out your why. And that's where we'll leave it for today. I think we tackled a lot. Maybe I threw a lot at you. Who knows? But I would love to hear your comments, questions, anything. Drop that in the comment section, and I'm more than happy to get back to you. All right. Appreciate all your time, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.